Welcome back, everybody. Senate Judiciary Committee Chair Dick Durbin is increasing his calls for an ethics investigation into Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. This is coming after ProPublica reported that Justice Clarence Thomas not only accepted lavish gifts and vacations from billionaire Republican donor Harlan Crow, but also sold property to him, including a home still occupied by Thomas's mother, who is now paying $0 in rent. Want to bring in Senator Alex Padilla to talk more about this and much, much more. Senator, as always, it's great to talk to you. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us on this Sunday afternoon. Before we get into this, I just want to get your thoughts on what's taking place in Sudan right now with the evacuation of American personnel, although 16,000 non-governmental employees left behind amidst what could be eventually a civil war there.
Right. I mean, the good news overnight is that things seem to have gone on very, very smoothly. There was no fighting on the way in, no fighting on the way out. All the embassy personnel and their families are now safe. And as my colleagues have been saying throughout the morning, this is just a temporary suspension of embassy activity. We hope to play a big role in maintaining the ceasefire that's been negotiated, make sure it's respected and extended, and that we really focus on the humanitarian crisis that's developing underneath. So a lot of work still to do there.
All right, let's transition to the Supreme Court and talk about possible ethics violations by Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. Before we get into this, I want to play for you, sir, some sound of your colleague, Senator Dick Durbin, on Meet the Press earlier today, and then we'll talk.
If this were a member of Congress and it happened that some Texas billionaire came in and said, I'm going to buy your mom's house and the house is nearby and own this so she doesn't have to pay rent or a mortgage payment, you'd say to yourself, well, that's obvious. That's the sort of thing that needs to be disclosed. That's a clear indication of a conflict of interest. Is there a question that should be raised? So, yes, there's no question in my mind that the Supreme Court has exempted itself from standards that apply to the executive and legislative branch and even to other judges.
Give me your thoughts on this, if you will, Senator, and what you really want to learn when it comes to possible ethics violations by Supreme Court Justice Thomas.
Sure. Look, what's been reported, and there's been multiple reports, is absolutely unconscionable. The highest court in the land should not be subject to the lowest ethical standards. But that's the type of behavior we are hearing about through these reports. So inquiries, investigations are absolutely in order. Some have raised a concern about the independence of the three branches of government, and there are three, but the system is one of checks and balances. And if the Supreme Court will not regulate itself, then I do think it's incumbent upon Congress to do so. There's certainly precedent for that in a number of areas. And it's so critical because of the importance of the Supreme Court and the consequence of their actions. The most fundamental critical issues of our country are settled with the Supreme Court. People need to know that decisions are being made thoughtfully, fairly, and we need to restore public confidence in the judiciary, including and especially in the highest court in the land. So there's just a lot at stake. There's certainly more questions to be asked and a lot more answers that the Supreme Court needs to bring.
Do you think reforms to ethics in the Supreme Court would help restore public confidence to the Supreme Court, or do you think we're too far gone?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's, we have those same ethics requirements, enforceable ethics requirements apply to the President of the United States, to members of Congress, and even the federal judiciary at the circuit and the district levels. But why not the United States Supreme Court? So I do think it is necessary. There's been false gestures in the past about the court imposing those ethics standards on themselves. They failed time and again. And so if it means Congress needs to act, then Congress needs to act. And I can't ignore one political dynamic here, Jasmine. Imagine if this was reporting about a Supreme Court justice that had been appointed by a Democratic president. How do you think Republicans would be acting right now? What would they be calling for right now? You can't have it both ways.
There's a difference between what you want and what's actually going to happen. We know Senator Durbin is also calling for Justice Roberts to appear before the Ethics Committee when it comes to potential reforms, right, to the Supreme Court and ethics. What is the possibility you think this is actually going to happen? And what reforms do you want to see?
Look, if Chief Justice Roberts is true to his word, then he'll show up and he will engage in that conversation. He has taken pride in suggesting that this is his court, not just running it during proceedings, but running sort of overseeing the administration and the conduct of the court as a body. And so if he wants to take on that responsibility and that role, then appearing before the Senate Judiciary Committee and answering these timely and critical questions is part of that responsibility. We have introduced legislation that lays out what we want to see, and not just higher ethical standards, but a process for investigation when there's alleged violations of a code of ethics, stronger transparency and disclosure rules when it comes to finances. And again, not just the report, but the most recent of reports of Justice Thomas's conduct is Exhibit A as to why we need it.
Senator Padilla, I want to ask you quickly about this NBC reporting that we're getting with this new polling out. There's a lot on Republicans, but I want to ask you specifically about the polling we're seeing with President Biden. 70% of all Americans, including 51% of Democrats, believing the president should not run for a second term. Half of those citing the president's age as a quote unquote major reason why he shouldn't run. What do you make of this?
Yeah, it's 2024 is upon us, and there's going to be a lot of prognosticating for the many, many months ahead. Here's what I know. President Biden was elected in 2020 with the most votes of any candidate for president in the history of our country. And he has lived up to the moment and lived up to the job between the American Rescue Plan, the Infrastructure and Jobs Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, and so much more. The United States of America is in a much better place today than it was 4 years ago. And I think that's what we're going to hear about during the campaign. And that's what you're going to see reflected in the results next November.
Senator Padilla, I can't let you go without asking about your colleague, Senator Feinstein. There's been a major holdup when it comes to the president's judicial nominees because of her absence. There is now growing calls for her resignation, in part because of that. What is your reaction? Where do you stand on this?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, we got to continue to wish her a complete recovery. Anybody who's had shingles, and I know several people who have, know that it's painful, and for some people it's more severe. But the best way forward here is for her to return to work. I know she's eager to do so as soon as her doctors clear her to travel. And as far as the work of the Senate goes, yes, it's a little bit harder, it's a little bit more frustrating. But just last Thursday, we moved another 7 judges to do Senate Judiciary Committee to the full floor for confirmation. So the work of the Senate continues.
Senator Alex Padilla, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.